Good evening. I would like to call the October 26, 2015 Bellbrook City Council meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Edwards?
Here.
Mr. Greenwood?
Here.
Mr. Martin?
Here.
Mrs. Middlestetter?
Here.
Mrs. Seeger-Lawson?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Schweller?
Here.
Mayor Baird?
Here. Formal approval of the work session and City Council meeting minutes of October 12, 2015. Does any member on council have any corrections or additions to the regular City Council meeting minutes of our last meeting?
None, Mayor.
None,
Mayor.
Seeing none, the minutes are approved as written. Mayor's announcements. We really only have one thing on the agenda this evening. We have Melissa Howell from Greene County, Greene County Health Commissioner. How are you doing this evening? She's going to be presenting information on the Greene County Combined Health District Renewal Levy that will be on the ballot on the 3rd.
Yes.
So thank you very much for coming and letting us know what's going on.
Thank you, Mark. So I'm not going to go from my presentation. I've kind of done this enough that I pretty much can just talk through it now. So good evening, members of council. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I am representing Greene County Public Health. For those of you who are not familiar maybe with public health, I'll just give you a little bit of information about who we are and what we do. So if you think about going to the doctor and you see your physician and they look you over and they determine what you might need, whether it be medication or exercise or whatever, they do that on an individual basis. A lot of what we do is on a community-wide basis. I think what we're most well known for is, of course, the scary diseases. So things like anthrax, smallpox, H1N1, West Nile virus, mad cow disease. Those are all the important diseases that we are responsible for controlling within our community. Last year we had 3 major diseases that were going on, circulating nationally, that I'll just call to your attention. You might remember some of them, but EVD 68 was one. That was a respiratory illness in children, hospitalized several children, and some deaths associated with that. The other one was measles. That was associated with Disneyland. You probably heard that in the news quite a bit. The one that really affected us here in Greene County on a larger scale was Ebola. And whether you knew that or not, in the background, we do a lot of surveillance and monitoring of the population health. And we had several residents traveling back and forth to those countries that were affected. And what our job was to get in contact with them. We monitored them on a daily basis, taking temperatures, just making sure that they never became a public threat. So that's really our most important and really highest calling of everything that we do, is just to keep those diseases at bay. People are not used to hearing things like people die from infectious diseases. We're much more comfortable now in today's setting of hearing about heart disease and stroke and cancer and things like that. But we also work on those important health initiatives. So we are pursuing accreditation. It's a mandate in the state of Ohio now that we pursue accreditation. What that does is it kind of puts us in charge of setting these health initiatives and agendas for our county. So you may not know that a decade ago, 50% of Greene County residents were reporting that they were overweight or obese. That number has now grown to about 75% of the population. So what we try and do is create these partnerships of people who are looking at obesity in our community, as well as raise the awareness to people such as yourselves, the policymakers and setters. And when you're looking at, creating walkable space in your communities, these are the reasons that we heighten your awareness about those issues. Probably secondly, I think what we're most well known for are things like inspecting restaurants, wells and septic tanks, doing any public health nuisances, mosquitoes, rodents, fleas, bats, whatever it is. So we investigate all of those in the community as well, just to make sure that no diseases such as rabies or anything are circulating in our community. Beyond that, we do other things. Again, I mentioned accreditation. So we have several clinics that we run that are direct care services at the health district in Xenia. We have a prenatal clinic, child, dental, reproductive, and immunization clinics where we provide direct care services. We also have several grants like Women's, Infants, and Children, Help Me Grow, Emergency Preparedness, and Immunization Action Grant. And we use all those levy dollars to leverage our ability to bring grants into the community to provide services for the members of your community. The federal grants have really decreased about 10% for us in the last 2 years in funding. We expect that to continue. So over the next 5 years, there will be a loss of both federal and state dollars for us. You've probably all heard of local government innovation funds and things like that. We've been actively pursuing several projects through Lean, Ohio and Greenbelt training, just having us work smarter with the dollars that we're given and really stretching those dollars. So a couple of those projects we did was we redid the way that we do our vehicles now. That saved us about $50,000 each year. And another project that we did was we redid the way that we handle purchase orders within the department, and that saved us about a $40,000 savings. So we are very much aware that we need to be responsible for the dollars that we do have, and we want to stretch them as far as we can. So we are on the ballot this year. This is just a renewal levy. It's a renewal of a 0.85-year operating levy that goes just for programs and services. It does support all of those programs that I shared with you, as well as things like vital statistics, which is birth and death records. But we've had this levy in place now since 2012, and we appreciate the support that we have received in the community. And I'm here just to let you know that we are still working on your behalf to meet the health needs of your community. If there's any concerns that you have, you can check out our website. It's gcph.info. You can email me or give me a call. If you have questions, I can take them. If I can't answer them, I'll go back to the department and then I will, bring the answers back to you. I am pleased and honored to have with me a longstanding member of our Board of Health with me this evening, who's Mr. Bill Beeman. He's been with us since the 80s, I believe. Is there anything you'd like to add to that, Bill? Sure.
As Melissa said, my name is Bill Beeman. I'm a long-term resident of Bellbrook. I recognize most of the council members. There's some I haven't met before. That I am your appointed official on the Board of Health. And the Board of Health is the members of the board are made up of people from the cities that are appointed by the cities, and then the District Advisory Council, which is a group of township officials and I think the unincorporated villages, and they appoint members also. I've been fortunate enough to be a representative for over 20 years, and I've learned a lot about what the health department's all about. The first numbers of years, every meeting was one of those things. They do that too, And as you can see from some of the literature, our health department does a wide variety of different things. And the renewal level we have here is for $300,000. And if you get to your taxes every year, and there's that pie chart there and shows where your taxes go to, we're probably the smallest slice there. Mm-hmm. And from all the things that we do, this levy is really a bargain for the people of Greene County. So if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer them.
Council, do we have any questions for Bill and Melissa this evening?
What are some of the things that Greene County Health is doing in the area of opiate addiction?
Opiate addiction, an excellent question. So we are not the lead agency on opiate addiction. It's actually Mental Health and Recovery that is the lead on that. We've sat in on the Greene County Forum, put together many of the death statistics that are being presented in the communities. So this year we've already had about 14 deaths reported that have been associated with heroin. Ohio is leading, in fentanyl addiction and death also. So we, are very much involved in that as far as we're providing the statistics. We are making sure that there are people being referred, say, over to TCN who are addicts currently. We have the opportunity under Ohio law now to even participate in needle exchange programs in the community. It wouldn't necessarily be at our Board of Health, but it would be where police and fire could carry them with them out into the community, as well as provide naloxone in their units. So a lot of that happens behind the scenes, kind of in legislation and making sure that things get passed that way. But it's a very serious epidemic that's ongoing. And you know, we see them in our prenatal clinics. We know that they're out in the communities, and the numbers are not going away. In fact, we're helping out Shelby County right now. I don't know if you know of their HIV outbreak that they have that's going on. But some of our staff is up there making sure that they're testing inmates and testing members of the community. That particular outbreak was absolutely associated with shared needles from IV drug users, so it's a problem. Yep.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Council, any other questions?
A person with minimal resources, is that somewhere they can go for help?
Absolutely. So our services, they are offered a sliding fee scale. You know, we don't refuse anyone for their inability to pay, but it is sliding fee scale. We've done a great job in the last year, though, signing a lot of people up through the Affordable Care Act for Medicaid and other marketplace insurances. So we were actually able to increase our revenue in the clinic services about $200,000 by having people on insurance now. So it was a very important thing for us to do, but it's still, if somebody wasn't able to pay or wasn't on insurance, yes, we would still see them in our clinics.
So you would suggest someone that if they didn't have anything to maybe come over there and you'd help them maybe get
Get on the insurance
Medicaid?
at
So
minimal.
you would be the first stop, probably?
Yep.
Okay.
We have counselors that we bring in that are specific to Medicaid, or the navigators that are coming in to do the other marketplace insurances. And so we call it the insurance clinic. And yeah,
Okay.
it's very busy signing
I
people
bet
up.
it is.
Yeah.
Any other questions on council?
Do a lot of great work. We appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
Yes, I would like
It's
to
a pleasure
echo,
serve, so.
echo that too, and thank you very much, and good luck on the levy. I think renewals typically usually go pretty well, and I think you guys provide a great service, so
We expect that. Thank you for your time.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on, that is all I have for special guests and mayor's announcements this evening. Public hearing, we have none. Resolutions, none. We have a city manager's report. Mr. Schlagheck.
Yes, just a couple of items this evening. I mentioned the last time that the Board of Village Review Board made a decision to deny a demolition of 79 West Franklin Street. Since the last meeting, we have received an appeal of that denial by the Village Review Board. So at the next council meeting, November 9th, council will hear that appeal of that decision by the Village Review Board. The property owner has been requested to attend to provide his information. In the meantime, before the next meeting, I'll get you the minutes, the official minutes, and all the other documentation, so you can read it in advance. But that will be at the November 9th meeting.
Mark,
during the
what
council
are our
meeting.
possible outcomes on the appeal? We can table it, we can deny it, we can,
You can
I mean, when it comes here, what's,
You can always table it. You can uphold the decision of the Village Review Board, which was a denial, or you could
Right.
overturn the decision of the Village Review Board, which would then therefore approve.
will we have
the
to render a decision on the 9th, or?
You do not have to. You could table it if there's not enough information to do it. We could table it to another date if there's more information required or requested.
And I believe, I remember right, I think I read everything, is it was a 2-2 tie, and a tie is a loss.
Yes.
Yes, correct.
And the request was to demolish it.
Yes.
So
Correct.
when it was denied, it was denying being demolished, right?
Correct.
It really doesn't have anything to do with what goes in its
No,
place afterwards?
no.
Okay.
There is a section of the code that talks to demolition specifically, but the Village Review Board would have input into what goes back there whenever it's proposed. They did get into some of that discussion at the original meeting, but that was not the crux of what the matter was. The matter was whether or not the building
Yep.
could be demolished, and that was the decision there. And because we only have 4 members on that board, as the mayor said, a 2-2 tie therefore meant it was not approved. You had to have a majority to approve the demolition. It was not approved, so therefore it was denied. So, and this is unfortunate. The reason we don't have 5 people is because we need a person from the old village district to be on that board. That's the position that's vacant. So we can't just appoint anyone. It has to be somebody from the from the old village to be on that board. So if you know anyone who is in the old village that has an interest, then that would alleviate this problem
They have to
potentially
be a
in the future.
resident of the old village?
They have,
Yes.
per the code, one of the members has to be a resident of the old village.
I was just thinking that maybe a business owner. would
Well,
also-
that's
They
part
have
of
to
the
be a
whole,
resident.
yeah.
And I think somebody else can be a business owner even if they're not a resident of Bellbrook, and I think
Mhm.
we have that filled, but we need somebody who actually
Okay.
lives in the old village to serve on that. So that's, that will be before you at the November 9th
Okay,
meeting.
thanks.
We've been contacted, Sugar Creek Township is doing, they have a Safe Routes to School grant, and they're going to extend the bike path on Upper Bellbrook from where it terminates really at BCI, Bell Creek Intermediate, up to the corner, and then I think I'm not sure where it goes from there, but it goes along the schools there in front of that. Well, our water tower sits there, so we have an access drive to our water tower. They're asking for that, for a
Well, they originally were
American.
getting ready to, they're going to do an appraisal to buy it from us, and I think that's sort of what Mark's talking about, is if you've ever seen the property, it's a very short little section that, why wouldn't we just donate it? The question will be, that we'll have to talk about is how do you do that, because I think because they're getting this through the grant money, it does have to be a fee property. So in other words, it's got to be deeded that section, which means then we would have to
get an easement. on the
retain
back.
easements, or either do them through the deed or do actual outside easements after they close on the fee parcel.
So our intent is to donate. It's going to end up being 2/100ths of an acre or something like that. It's a very small strip. It's a 5-foot wide path through I don't even know how wide
Yeah,
that was, 20 or 30 foot.
It's
So
not very
it's
much.
very small, but I was reading to convey land of the city, it has to be done by ordinance, so it'll be a public hearing in that. So just to give you an idea, but our intent is to donate that. I think the school is donating all their, in front of their property, they're donating that, so we'll do that, but there'll have to be formal legislation. And then we'll have to guarantee, that we'll get the easements that we need to guarantee that we have access to our water tower and all those things. So just to give you a heads up that will be coming in the future. We're now waiting for their consultant to get back to us with, how we can proceed with that. Halloween is this Saturday night. It's actually on Halloween, October 31st, from 6 to 8 p.m. So I've checked the weather, it's supposed to be in the 50s, no snow, no, who knows, that can change between now and then, but hopefully,
tornadoes.
hopefully no hurricanes or anything like that, so hopefully it'll be good. And then finally, we had one budget work session this evening. We got to talk with the police and fire departments. Prior to our next prior to our next council meeting, we'll have another budget work session. We'll have the service department, and then we'll review the administration budget as we continue the budget review process. So that is all I have this evening.
Does anyone on council have any questions for our city manager this evening?
Yeah, I got a question. I saw them working on the retaining, I guess you call it a retaining wall over there by the
Cemetery.
By the cemetery.
But then in addition to that, there's a couple cuts across the road. Is that us or is that the developer?
That's the development. So
Okay.
this weekend, that's why Upper Bellbrook was closed, is they had to make connections. They were connecting to our water system.
Okay.
But it's the developer that made the two crosses of Upper Bellbrook to get to our water main, which is on the eastern side of that road. So
Okay. So that
just-
doesn't have anything really to do with that?
No,
retaining wall?
just
Okay.
just coincidentally, it happened at the same time. So the retaining wall, I went by today. I mean, they're pretty much done with that work. They were taking the forms off, so that will be done. And then we'll have to go back and restore the bike path where it was there against the retaining wall. Then they're going to backfill behind that wall with dirt to fill in to do that. So that project has moved along fairly quickly, and they've done good.
The outside facade of the wall is just gonna be a concrete facing like it is right now?
Yes.
Okay.
We looked into having it stamped or something like that. That was going to add another $10,000 to $12,000 on, and I decided that we didn't need it stamped. So
How
Agreed.
about some
Good call,
community
Mark.
art?
There you go.
He'll be decorated.
How about
Yeah,
some,
well-
yeah, but if we get community art, then we control the decoration.
yeah, we'll let it
It'll
see how it
probably-
goes, and then
Probably
we'll-
get community art anyway.
Yeah, well-
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That is a thought, though, is that maybe we, talk to the school or something and see if they would want to put some type of art project together.
And we have to consider that, make it appropriate, because it is a cemetery.
It is cemetery.
So I mean, I don't know that so that is something we can consider.
But, yeah,
Once the
but,
wall's
I
in
mean,
place.
and obviously, there's it's gonna get decorated, right? So we might as well try to at least have some control over what gets put there.
Yeah.
I guess I think that's your
We'll
point.
give it some time, see how long it
Yeah. We'll,
lasts.
Okay.
but yeah, so that wall will be done here shortly, and,
Okay,
and
great.
the bike path will be back open again.
Mark, I wanted to ask about the Vimco Firebird project. How's that one going?
Well, we had a good project here, and then we've got a much slower project over there. So the contractor is in there. They've been working. If you drive down there, it's in between two houses is the end of it. So they've cleared out. They put the head wall down at the creek end, and they've been laying pipe coming back towards the road. I was down there this afternoon. They had at that point 3 sections of pipe in. They were trying to get to the curb line by the end of the day today, so I don't know if they made it there or not. Obviously, the next couple days are probably not going to be, with the rain, good to be working in that type of thing. So what they need to do at that point then is they're going to have to close down the road. The road's been left open at this point, but once they get to that curb, they're going to have to go across up Firebird a little bit to connect to the existing head wall, or they're going to replace that head wall too. So
Okay.
it's been much slower than what we had hoped. It's a smaller contractor. It's a 3-man crew. And the one gentleman is the one who operates the track hoe. He fills the dump truck, then he has to get out and he has to go drive the dump truck to go dump the dump truck because no one else has the CDL. So it's been much slower than we had hoped, but they're making progress, and I'm confident they'll get it done before. They still have time. I mean, the weather has fortunately been very very
Yeah.
nice, and we haven't had the freezing and stuff like that.
We've been lucky.
Yeah.
So they have a deadline in the contract of early to mid-November, so they're still within the frame of the contract. They haven't exceeded that. It's just you'd like to see them get in there and get it done and move on. But so far, all the neighbors have been very patient and understanding, and
Okay.
so
Good.
hopefully they stay that way.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions for our city manager? Seeing none, we'll move on to old business. Is there any old business this evening? New business? Do we have
Are you
any?
doing-
Actually, you skipped all the committee reports.
Oh, I already marked them off. Well, too bad.
I actually
Let's,
have something to say.
Yeah, we'll go back to committee report. Service,
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
safety.
Wait, I'm
Wait a
service.
minute, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go, Forrest jumped from your spot,
We're
so.
all mixed up.
Donna,
Yeah,
service?
I do have some information. Dale Wilson, the service director, provided some information. We received a letter from the Ohio Department of Health back in September. They gave us an award for water fluoridization quality award. This is for calendar year 2014. I'll read just a little bit of it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. The Ohio Department of Health is pleased to provide you with an enclosed certificate. Your community water system has been awarded a water fluoridization quality award from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Fluoridization is the adjustment of fluoride in the water to a level that is optimal for preventing tooth decay. The award recognizes those community water systems that have maintained a consistent level of optimally fluoridated water for the 2014 calendar year. So I think that's a great job to our water department, and a nice award to receive. Good for our community.
That's great.
I have one other thing. Dale also sent me a letter that he received. A service crew was out at Hillcrest Drive during the spring, and there were some water issues with water running off and running into the storm, not getting to the storm sewer system appropriately. And someone afterwards took the time to send Dale a letter, and I'll just read it real quick. Dear Dale, I wanted to take a minute and thank you for your staff for your excellent work. As you know, several of us were experiencing some drainage issues on Hillcrest Drive in Bellbrook. Your team installed some additional drainage pipe along the fronts of several of the properties and improved the water flow into the sewer. It would be remiss of me not to comment on the quick response we got from you and your team, and also the professionalism they demonstrated while going about the job. I can only speak for myself, but I personally wanted to thank you for your attention to this. I appreciate it very much. One of your team members, Brett, actually took the time to explain to me what was being done and explain some options to me as I discussed that with him, what I wanted to do. He is a credit to you and your team. So I wanted to thank you and let you know how much I appreciated your efforts.
Wonderful.
Do you want me to say who it is? Is that appropriate? Or?
Yeah, I think so.
George Hitchcock. So
Very good.
that's a nice letter of accommodation. That's all I have.
Finance and audit.
Nothing to report tonight, Mayor.
Community affairs.
Mark already mentioned Beggars Night is Sunday,
Saturday.
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 Yep. October 31st.
Okay. I thought, okay, Saturday, 6 to 8.
6 to 8.
Turn your lights on if you want to have
Trick-or-treaters?
trick-or-treaters, and please turn them off if you do
Yeah, if
not.
you don't.
Well, hopefully, since we're having this is the same as everyone else, we won't get invaded again. So,
Yeah.
so it should be hopefully back to normal.
Yes.
Open discussion. Anyone have anything for open discussion?
Nothing, Mayor.
Nothing, Mayor.
Just remind the citizens that November the 3rd is Election Day. We've got 3 members of council on the ballot, including the mayor, and we've got 3, I think, Greene County issues, so exercise your right to vote.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mike. We open this up to our audience, and you can come up, and you would have 5 minutes. You need to say your name and address, and if you would like to come up. Seeing no one jumping up this evening, does any other member on council have any other business to come before us this evening?
None, Mayor.
Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.